There we go. News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Welcome back to the Mental Space with Sean Garvey. News and Talk 1380 WAOK, WAOK.com, and on the Odyssey app, News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Welcome to this special edition of Dating Behind the Scene on the Mental Space. That's what we call it, the second Wednesday of every month. Dating Behind the Scene with our dating commentator in the studio once again, Trey Amazing.
Yeah. Well, my mic ain't on. Yeah.
Why the claps ain't there?
Yeah. See, she messing up my claps. Thank you for having me again, Sean Garvey.
Well, no, thank you for coming on the Mental Space. Welcome back to the Mental Space, man.
Indeed, man. Let's drop some bows on them.
Yeah, indeed. How's your week been thus far?
Oh, man, it's been very interesting. This has been the month of spontaneity.
Is that a new word for 2023?
Spontaneity?
Okay.
Yeah. No, this it's been spontaneous, just
Okay.
tattoos, a new dog, all just out the blue, let's just do it. So and I got a couple more tattoo appointments this month too. So yeah.
You got more tattoos. I never known you to be the type of person to have tattoos.
Oh yeah, I'm not completely covered, not yet, but
Okay.
yeah. It's getting there. I'm getting
You don't
my
look like
Tupac
the type
on.
that would get tattoos or something? Sean?
Huh?
You don't look like the type that would get tattoos?
No, that's the point.
No,
That's the whole point.
I don't even look like the type of person to get tattoos. But speaking of tattoos, you happen to have tattoos yourself. Wanda Davis in the studio. See, you see Simone gonna do it for the women, but not for the dudes.
Okay, that's right.
Right.
That's right.
That's discrimination.
But yes, Wanda, happy Wednesday.
Same to you, Mr.
Yes.
Shine.
Good news. You are currently dating.
Yes, I am currently dating a good guy. Guy.
Okay.
No claps for that, I guess.
Good man.
I don't want to tell too much about that. I got a few people looking. I can't tell everybody.
Oh, okay. But I mean, I can see the glow. I can definitely see the glow. Well, congrats. Well, congrats. We just came out of February Love Month.
Right.
And you are currently dating. I know you're going to keep us posted on how everything goes. Yeah.
I might.
Might. Oh, okay.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right.
What we say, we're going to speak positive.
Yes, Trey Amazing give me some great advice, so I'm trying to flow with it. Yeah.
And that's what the show, we give great advice and solutions right here on the Mental Space.
Just let it flow.
I'm not getting no flowers or claps today.
But you know what you said, let it flow. I'm just gonna let it flow.
Let it flow.
Everything happen. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, definitely keep us posted.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if it's off the air, keep us posted.
Let me know. I'm gonna bring some rice to the wedding. I got you.
Now you
jumping the broom too fast.
Hey, I'm speaking.
I might cheat on them next week. Now I know you're pretty playing.
Okay, never mind.
We don't want to have mental health problems. This is a show in which we talk about all things considered mental health. So we don't want to move too fast because when you move too fast, you start having those mental health problems.
Yeah,
early.
I'm moving too fast.
Early.
You hope.
I'm just going with the flow. That's it.
All right.
Enjoying it.
So before I bring on my third guest, and we're going to have a fourth guest joining with us in just a few moments, I know this man from a series of videos that he presents to his viewers on YouTube. And I'm going to have my producer, Simone, by the way. Shout out to Simone, the producer in the studio, holding it down with us. She's going to give her claps. She's going to give her claps.
I clap for Simone.
That would be good for a T-shirt right there. Hashtag clap for Simone.
I clap for Simone.
Most definitely.
Yes. So we're going to go to clip one, and I want people to hear this clip because this gentleman does a YouTube series online, and it's called We Need to Talk. So Simone, play clip one so that way we can have our WLK listeners hear what this show is about.
How can you control the experience that women have with you?
Come on.
So that it's not just about your bank account and your height. Because we already talked about women are willing most often to fix men. So if they're not wanting to work with you, it's probably not about what you think it is.
All right, that was an excerpt from We Need to Talk YouTube series, where it's a show where this gentleman, influencer, he gets on and he talks to women. He talks to women and get their thoughts on dating, modern dating, relationships, marriage, etc. Y'all, please give it up for Alan from We Need to Talk. Alan, good evening. Welcome finally to the mental space.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you for the invite, man.
I'm a big fan of your content.
Thank you.
I started watching your program since last year, since early part of 2022.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And me and Alan has one thing in common. You take this into pride. And in most of your videos, you acknowledge that you are Nigerian.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am 4.7% Nigerian myself.
Hey, shout out to you, my brother.
Yes, you too, my brother. Also, big shout out to Xavier Brandon, one of the radio personalities here at News and Talk 1380 WLK. He does the show Voices in the Street on Sundays from 4 to 7 p.m. And he's a Nigerian as well.
We're all over the place, man. It's crazy.
I'm feeling outnumbered.
Man, I mean, I'd be feeling outnumbered too when you talk about your HBCU. I ain't gonna get out into that. Well, thank you so much, Alan. And I wanted to extend the invitation to you to come on the program because we're going to talk about two topics. It's going to be very, very heavy tonight. But before we get into that, and we're coming up on a break almost, talk to our listeners, expound more on the series We Need to Talk.
Yeah, so I founded We Need to Talk when I was in college in 2013. It started off as a nonprofit. The goal was to be like a TED Talk for Black people. After college, we expanded to like 7 schools, but after COVID, we had to shut down. So when we shut down after COVID, I had to find something else to do, and I was trying to get my life together. So we found our way on YouTube with a series called Kevin Samuels Started This Conversation.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Now, as soon as you said that, I know, and we shout out to our female listeners.
Yeah.
I know the name Kevin Samuels
It's triggering, right?
Very
triggering,
triggering.
tend to trigger, but there's a reason for that.
Yeah. No, definitely. And so because of my experience from college, a lot of my female friends would hit me up and say, hey, what do you think about this Kevin Samuels guy? Can you help me understand what he's trying to say? So I did the first video was a conversation with a friend of mine called Is Kevin Samuels a Necessary Evil? So from that video, we kind of segued it into a conversation series. And, we're at 60,000 subscribers now. So
60,000.
60,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it's moving.
Wow.
Slowly but surely.
Champion, man. I'm digging that title. I love that title.
I just found out today there are like 6 We Need to Talks. There's like a female sports talk show on CBS. There's like 10 podcasts. It's just a bunch of We Need to Talk.
Yo, no, shout out to you for that.
Yeah, but you're the real We Need to Talk.
I got the most subscribers out of all of them.
Hey,
that's all that matters. If you're in a relationship or married, We Need to Talk is like the scariest words you want to hear.
That was the goal. Yeah.
It's like, we need to talk.
Yeah. What we need to talk about?
We're going to talk about 2 things tonight,
Let's do
Alan. We're going to talk about hypergamy, and we're going to talk about corny dudes. So we need to talk tonight.
Let's do it.
We're trying to get an understanding to these 2 topics right here and how it affects the dating scene and one's mental health. 404-892-2703. We're also going to be joined by another special guest in just a few moments. Coming up, it's the Mental Space with Sean Garvey, News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Let's go.
I have noticed that, I've met a lot of different females who has their dad in their life, like solely has her dad in their life, and they're independent at the same time. But I noticed that the difference between a female who just had their mother who was independent and a female who had her father who's independent, the girl with the father is not bitter versus the female with the mother who is very bitter and like solely like against men.
Some people got to have that money, especially in dating and relationships. And you wonder why some of you all have mental health issues. Let's talk about it right here on the Mental Space with Sean Garvey, News and Talk 1380 WAOK. I am joined by my panel of guests, the dating commentator himself, Trey Amazing. Also joined by a comedian Wanda Davis, and my special guest, Alan from the We Need to Talk series on YouTube. We're going to be joined by our fourth guest in just a few moments. 404-892-2703 is the telephone number. If you're just now tuning in, we are doing our monthly segment, Dating Behind the Scene. And tonight's topic, hypergamy, corny dudes, and mental health. So, Alan, I'm going to go over to you. And you touch on this in some of your episodes from what I watch. Hypergamy. Let's break the name or the word down, hypergamy. Because I've talked to a few people earlier today and in previous days. They did not know what the word hypergamy meant, right?
Yeah.
And I remember being on Dr. Adrian's show last year. It was sometime last year, and she had an author on that was talking about the hypergamous lifestyle. You know, it was you even got authors that have written books about the hypergamy lifestyle. So according to the dictionary, hypergamy is defined as the action of marrying or forming a sexual relationship with a person of a superior psychological or educational background.
Don't say financial anywhere in there?
So, it doesn't say.
But it's implied.
Financial is the
social,
first one.
yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so the best explanation I've gotten, women tend to date across and up the social hierarchy, meaning that if you talk to most women, they're going to say, I need my man to be at least my height or taller. He needs to make at least as much as me or more. He needs to have just as much social status as me or more. He needs to be, you know, if I'm God's cousin, he needs to be God's brother. Like, you know, he needs to be somebody that I can follow his leadership, somebody I can look up to. And I think it's natural because, you know, it's more at stake when it comes to procreation for women than it is for men. Like, your life is at stake when you choose to replicate a man. So, yeah, women tend to want men who are better.
Do you hear that from a lot of women these days? You know, and I know we got to be careful to not generalize all black women, right? Because I believe that not all black women want that type of men. But do you hear that more and more often these days? The 6 foot tall, he got to make six figures.
666.
Yeah, the 6'6", the 666.
The high value.
Yeah, the 3-6 mafia. Like,
shout out to Memphis.
It's
I'm gonna throw that in there.
it's complicated, right? Because I think left to women's devices, they would want a man that's better. But I think what we're seeing now in our community, some women actually go after lesser value men because they're easier to control, right?
Ooh,
and a lesser value man doesn't necessarily and I've heard this from women. A lesser value man doesn't necessarily make you feel as
Secure,
insecure as a high value man, right? Like, I've had one lady that I interviewed. She said that, you know, with a really good man, I feel like I got to get my stuff together tomorrow. Versus with Pookie and Ray Ray on the street, I'm the best thing that's ever happened to him. You know, so in our community, you kind of find women who look for men that they can put in a more like submissive position, like a son. You know, an ex-con, he needs somewhere to stay. He needs to drive your car. You know, but an independent man who has a voice and you might have to follow his leadership. Not only are you not used to that type of dynamic because you've never had to follow a man's leadership. Sometimes it's scary, man. It's scary.
Well, what do you have to say on that, Trey Amazing? Because you two touch on this, not just only in one of your YouTube videos. By the way, Trey Amazing, I should say, you do have a show on YouTube as well as on social media, Ringside LLC. And, you know, you and Alan, you all do pretty much, y'all are in the same profession. And you touch on it every now and then in the group chats, on social media and stuff. What is your take on it?
You know, I got to be honest. As far as the practice of hypergamy, I've always known that it's been around. It's something that's, you know, culturally embedded globally for a lot of cultures and communities. I got to be honest, and, you know, we brought the brother's name up earlier. I don't think I heard the word hypergamy until Kevin Samuels. And this was like last year when he was doing a Vlad TV interview, and he mentioned the word hypergamy. I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, that's what it is. I always knew what it was, just didn't know it was called hypergamy. It's, I agree with Brother Allen, because it's something that traditionally that's what you see a lot of women talk about as far as their desire, what they want in a mate, particularly when you're talking about marriage, long-term commitment. They want someone they feel is at their level, if not better. And honestly, I think for a lot of people, it's one of the, just like Alan said, it's natural and they just fall into it. But what you are seeing lately, you are seeing men who are practicing hypergamy and feeling like they don't want to date anybody below them. So you have, and that's something that I have seen. You see a rise in that, and an increase in that. You got these brothers out here who are making.
So it goes both ways.
It can go both ways.
Wow.
It can go both ways. I think that, coincidentally, even though it goes both ways, it's not viewed or valued the exact same way across the board when a man does it versus when a woman does it. Because again, when a woman does it, we are seeing this as this is natural. This is the way it's supposed to be. There's a natural order of things between men and women. However, when men do it, it is something seen as backwards, unnatural, or what we're used to common, unmanly, not alpha, beta male. So we're seeing a shift. Even though you have more men who are adopting this philosophy, we're understanding that it's not going to be seen or weighed the exact same way. But in terms of the word, I just actually found out hypergamy in 2022. But no, it's definitely a real thing. It's out there.
Yeah. Oh, all right. So I got to come to you, Wanda. Do you consider yourself to be hypergamous?
Yes.
Why?
Yes, I do.
Why?
Well, I really want a man to have the same. I don't want to look for nobody that got less than me, but at least the same or more. Because the reason being, because I don't got no pull-ups for nobody. So if I'm meeting a man, like if I expect for you to be able to pay for dates, you should be able to expect me to pay for dates.
That's what I'm talking about.
So I look at that, so if the man drive a nice car, I ain't gonna say, oh, you gotta have a nice car. Just because he have a nice car don't mean he got no money.
It's a lot of guys out here driving nice cars that are broke.
But that's broke.
Like straight up.
I want somebody that's on the same level as me. I don't want nobody that's lesser than me, not even that is less, but I want somebody that I can come bring to the table when we come together.
Even if he makes less than you, I mean, he's a great guy. He could treat you like a queen. Just got less. That's still a deal breaker.
I mean, but I got a house. I want somebody with a house, a car, a job. That's simple. That's
What if he has an apartment?
I mean, you could have an apartment, but have your own place. I don't want you saying I live with my sister. I don't want saying that I'm in my cousins.
No, she lived with
roommates.
me. She lived with me.
I don't think 40-year-old men should have roommates.
Ooh.
I just don't believe that. I'm almost 50. I'll be
Shots
48
fired.
soon. So I don't want to meet a man and say, yeah, me and my brother are roommating. You should be established. I want somebody that's already established. I am established. So I want somebody on that same level.
Okay, we got to bring the mental health aspect into this conversation. When we come back from the break, we're going to bring on our fourth guest for the evening, ladies and gentlemen. We got to bring another female into the convo.
Yeah, come on.
So
female.
So we can help
Back
you out.
me up.
We can help you out because it is Women's History Month. It is Women's History Month. So we want to make sure that we get as many women's voices as much as possible to be a part of this conversation. We're talking about hypergamy, corny dudes, in which we'll talk about later on the program, and mental health. 404-892-2703 if you want to weigh in and chime in on the conversation. Do you consider yourself to be a hypergamous person? If so, why? Or if not, why? And what does it do to your mental health? I believe that the more hypergamous you are, the more stressed you're going to be. I believe so. Hey, we're going to come back. Alan may have some pushback. We're going to see. 404-892-2703 is the mental space with Sean Garvey, News and Talk 1380 WAOK. ODB, where's my money? That's what the hypergamous women and hypergamous men are saying. That's the question they asking. Where's my money? Better have me my money. The mental space, Sean Garvey, News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Also, shout outs to Alicia Bridges. She's usually one of the panelists that comes in and sits in once a month when we do our dating behind the scene commentary. She is in New York right now doing some big things, but she will be back next month to be a part of the conversation. Yeah, hand claps for her, hand claps for Alicia Bridges, holding it down, because we will do a part 2 on the subject behind hypergamy. 404-892-2703. Hypergamy and mental health. During this first hour, we got Trey Amazing, we got Wanda Davis, we also got Alan from We Need to Talk. Now we about to bring on our 4th guest. I've known this sister from my earlier days in radio. We went back in the day with each other, and she is on the mental space. About time. Kizzy Robinson.
Yeah.
Hey.
Who is
What's
also
up? Thank you so much for having me. Oh my God. Well, we got like a decade in now.
Yeah, we getting it in. We getting it in. And you are also, speaking of out of town, you are also out of town as well.
Yes. I'm in Chicago right now. I just got in and flew in and got settled and ran to a corner. I could not miss this. Dang corny dudes and dang up or dang down. We're not doing this. I got my sister on there by herself. I was listening. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to come on.
Yeah. Like, hey, mama, I made
Let's
it.
talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I know
definitely.
you've been hearing some of the commentary thus far. We're talking about hypergamy and mental health, the hypergamy dating thing. And I'm going to pose the same question that I just asked Wanda. Do you consider yourself to be hypergamous?
Well, yes. I guess I could say that because it's just like Wanda said, I don't want to, you don't tell me you stay with your sister. I don't want to come to your sister's house. And, I don't like to throw religion on anybody, but you have to be equally yoked. Otherwise, someone's going to get drugged. Yeah. Like, if you're not on dating and in a relationship with someone who you can, on your level and understand your lifestyle and it's too hard. And too, especially as you get over 40. Once you get over 40, we're not dating because you're cute. We're not dating because you can, create beautiful children. You gotta have some shit going on.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
Kizzy.
I'm sorry.
Kizzy, I know you from the gospel back in the day.
That was real
I'm
holy.
old Peter Kizzy. I'm sorry. But you have to have some stuff definitely, going on. Otherwise, it's going to be too hard. I can take a man with a plan any day. If you have a plan and, I want to help you to get to that plan. And I want to help you, push you and hold you accountable for those plans. But just to be you stand at your sister's house and haven't figured it out, no, we can't do that. And I actually do like Kevin Samuels. He made a lot of sense. He was a little harsh at times, but I don't think it was really harsh. I think people don't like to take the truth. They don't take truth too easily. People would rather you sugarcoat things and tell lies and play games versus just tell the truth. And that's was one of the things in his delivery was just, I don't have time to even play with you with this. Look at what you're doing. So I'm probably one of the few women who actually likes Kevin Samuel.
A lot of women. Majority of his subscribers are women. So a lot of women actually are on Kev's side. Again, I do agree with you. I think at times his delivery was a little too abrasive. But for a lot of people, that was that's what made him him. And for some people, they feel like that was the formula for why he became big on YouTube. Because let's not forget the fact that he was on YouTube for a long time. He was an image consultant. He was talking to men about, how we're supposed to dress, cologne, upper mobility, so on and so forth. But his videos weren't hidden as much as they were until he focused on women, particularly black women. And in addition, when his style and delivery changed, he became infamous at that point. At that point, he became viral. So, you have a lot of people out there who have mimicked this formula because sometimes I think I didn't know Kevin Samuels like that. I mean, he was my frat brother, so he's always going to get a baseline of my respect. But I often wonder, with you guys like Kevin Samuels and the Andrew Tates and these other people, I'm like, are they really like this in real life or is this for views?
Yeah. But
Right,
let
right.
me interject if I can, because I said this offline during the last break, and you can also chime in, Alan, on this. Because when we think of hypergamy, just from people that even heard the term before and hearing content creators touch on the topic, we think in hypergamy like you got to have $1 million in your account, you got to have a big house, you got to have you got to be lifestyle in the rich or the famous type of lifestyle, right? But my friend next to me, Wanda, she's like, well, Sean, do you have your own place? Like, yeah, well, you are hypergamous. I'm like, no, it's not being hypergamous. It's me being an adult.
Boom.
It's me being independent. It's me being an adult. So, I mean, Alan, do you think there is a thin line, a difference between being an adult and being hypergamous?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Being an adult, like you said, is just having the basics. Hypergamy is about I want somebody who is better. That's the defining characteristic. I want somebody who's better. So, like I said before, most women are not okay with a man who's shorter than them.
That's so true.
It's just the truth, and it's ingrained
That is
in women's DNA. And I think the reason it's so ingrained is because when you think about biologically, like the average woman has 300,000 eggs, right? And she loses them as she ages. So there's an incentive to find the best, biggest, baddest, most highly sought after gorilla to procreate with. Because I'm going to risk my life and then risk the next 12 months of my life with postpartum and the whole nine to clone this man. I want to clone the best possible man I could find. Men are not naturally like that, right? Men are naturally polyamorous. Like we want to spread our seed, right? And
Man,
we're hypergamous.
you trying to get us in trouble up in here, man?
I'm just telling the truth. We're hypergamous in the sense where like we're looking for the baddest woman. We're looking for the best looking, the biggest, past and the biggest future. I'm trying to use.
I heard that. I'm digging that.
I think we all.
But
I think we all are looking for the best. Because you want someone who's gonna make you want to be a better version of you. And if you have, it's just like Wanda said, if you have somebody who's not like, if they're not doing anything and they're not motivating themselves, I mean, how are they gonna motivate you? You want to be, I wouldn't say competitive, but I have this thing where I like a busy man because I'm a busy woman. So I need you to be able to, I'm not needy. I can, let you do your thing. I do my thing. But at the same time, I'm a go-getter. Yeah. So you have to have that go-getter mentality to even date me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not gonna be with someone sitting on the couch. I've done that before when you can drop me off at work and you keep my car for the day. And then I thought about it, like, what the hell? What are you gonna do all day? What are you gonna do?
She's doing her best, brother.
It's a different kind of show tonight.
She's doing her best. But I mean, to answer Sean's question, like men are not like that, right? I think a lot of women assume if a really eligible man shows up to her office building and she's got the top floor corner office, that she's gonna have the best shot at that man. But if your secretary at the very bottom when he walk in look better than you and is nicer than you, he don't care that you make just as much money as him. Like men do not say things
men
like
don't care.
That's what I'm saying. So to his question, men are not hypergamous.
Yeah, men don't care.
Men are not hypergamous.
Some men, no. Some of them are.
I was saying that earlier.
But not all.
Yeah, it's not the rule; it's the exception.
Some of them are because I hang with a lot of bosses, and some of them at the table won't date a woman if she's not making a particular amount of money, if she doesn't have her stuff together.
That's nonsense. If she's fine enough, they'll throw all that out the window. Trust me.
Actually, I'm in between.
They may.
I'm right there. I'm right there in the middle, y'all.
All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about this in the second hour of the program and then switch to the other topic about corny guys. So it's a whole lot to say on this particular topic. That's why I say there needs to be a part 2 on hypergamy. But hang tight, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to touch on it just a little bit, 404-892-2703, because we got to factor in, Alan. We got to factor in the mental health aspect on hypergamy before we go to the next topic. We still got Alan from the We Need to Talk series, the dating commentator himself, Trey Amazing, and Wanda Davis in the studio. Thank you so much, Kizzy, for your 2 cents on the topic. 404-892-2703 is the mental space with Sean Garvey. News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
80% of people buying things are women. So that means, not only is the woman spending her money, she's spending the dude's money too. She's the one going to the grocery store, doing this, doing that, doing this. And that's the way it's always been. Like that's that doesn't really mean much. But what it does mean is, in a capitalistic society, I used to work in marketing. The entire marketing apparatus is aimed at the female. Right. It's aimed at gaining and retaining her attention. The best way to gain and retain people's attention is to just, you are God's gift to everything. And because you're God's gift to everything, you deserve everything, right? So this idea is being reinforced by capitalism. This idea is being reinforced by sexual attention, many of DMs. This idea is being reinforced by your fellow women around you. Yes, girl, you 300 pounds, but you working at 300 pounds. So it's created this idea that there's nothing wrong, at least with me.
All right, so I'm going to need my producer, Simone, to run that back in one of the next segments coming up in the second hour.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I didn't say that
back,
before.
Back then, they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me.
Right.
Yeah.
I was corny back in the day, but now.
Keyword Corny. We're going to get into that in just a few moments. Welcome back to the mental space. Sean Garvey, News and Talk 1380 WAOK. If you're just now joining in with us, we're talking about hypergamy, dating, and mental health, how this affects the dating scene. Since we are doing our monthly segment behind the dating scene on the mental space, we are joined by our panel of guests. We have Trey Amazing, the dating commentator. We also have comedian Wanda Davis. We also have our special guest, Alan, from the We Need to Talk series on YouTube. And do we still have our guests? Okay, can we? Oh, okay. All right. Kizzy Robinson.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure. I just want to make
I'm
sure.
here. I'm
Okay.
here.
Okay. Kizzy,
Yes.
we have our other guest, Kizzy Robinson. 404-892-2703 is the telephone number. Hypergamy. And for those who are just tuning in and catching the second episode, we define what hypergamy is. And so I'm going to just circle back and repeat the definition: the action of marrying or forming a sexual relationship with a person of a superior social, economic, or educational background. And according to Women's Health, and I pulled this article up because, of course, it is Women's History Month, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. They also say that in translation from the definition that I just given out to people about hypergamy, in other words, it means dating or marrying up, upgrading. Hypergamy as a means of upward social mobility for women is nothing new. It has always been like this throughout history. So what does this got to do with mental health? Women may no longer need hypergamous relationships, but they still seek them out. Wow. Let's go to the room. Let's go to Trey Amazing, the dating commentator.
As far as how it correlates to mental health.
How it correlates to mental health. Because you see, I feel like, and I said this offline, the more hypergamous you get, the more stress you get. The more stress, the more anxiety you get. Because think about it, like you become more and more hypergamous, meaning that you want more, right? And that means that, okay, does this mean you got to work more hours? You got to invest more time in your work? And also the economic standpoint, right? Just splurging money on things that you are buying for your loved one because you want to see her or him happy and stuff. And then next thing you know, you broke. You in debt. And then you can't, right, Simone, you can't afford it.
I mean, as far as like I'm not a psychologist or anything, but the direction that I think it plays or correlates as far as the mental health, like we were talking about offline, as far as this is 2023, this is not 1923 where women weren't allowed, they were disallowed from making money. So it wasn't that difficult to find a man that had more. Very common. Fast forward 2023, just a few years later, we have women. First off, women, particularly Black women, are the fastest and largest group of entrepreneurs in the U.S. Black women out here out educating Black men. They're thriving, making money. I mean, come on. It's not that difficult to find a sister around here that makes six figures. So I think in terms of mental health, when you have the women who are doing all these big things, owning business, making great money, have homes, cars, so on and so forth, and still like, I need to find that man who makes more, who does more, who has more. But, and this has been covered by Kevin Samuels, been covered by Andrew Tate, been covered by a lot of people. What you're looking for may not be as common or just around the block like you think. So if you're out here and you have this very specific goal, I do all this, I got all this money, I got all this, but I need to find a man that does more, not realizing like, yo, that kind of man that you're looking for may not, he's not going to just pop up on the street every day. He may, for a lot of people, dating up means you're now delving into that 1%. That 1% of men that, may possess that 3-6 we're talking about. And so if you're talking about mental health, I mean, like I said, this is just me spitballing. It could be weighing in on, am I worthy? Am I going to find the person that I feel God has for me, that I say or I think, quote unquote, God has for me? Is what I'm looking for, is it unrealistic or is it unattainable? So in terms of the mental health, I think some women are going through that right now in terms of just how it's affecting them and their what they see as bleak dating outcomes. But you know what? Let me take this opportunity. I did have a question, and it's been burning on my for Izzy and Alan, but it's for the entire room. Do you think there's distinction, or do you think people confuse gold digging with hypergamy?
Yes.
Or vice versa? Whatever.
Yes. Yes.
Because that too is also mentioned in the article that I'm bringing to everyone's attention. But yeah, you say yes, Alan.
Yes. I want to answer your question first. I think when it comes to mental health and hypergamy, the best quote is, "Comparison is a thief of joy."
Got that right.
And to your point, and this is where we have to be honest, like we often say, Black women are the fastest rising group getting degrees and making six figures. They're also one of the highest groups when it comes to debt, when it comes to student loan debt, when it comes to evictions, right? So like we have to look at both sides of the coin. Like, yes, like we were talking about earlier, the optics look good, but there's a lot of crust under that wig as well.
Did you just say wig?
Yes, I did.
You got to.
Hold up.
Talk to me.
Wait, Kizzy, come on. Okay.
Talk to me.
Hold up, wait a minute.
I know now, Kizzy. Just a disclaimer. I know you're passionate about it, but this is PG. Go ahead.
I caught that. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I don't think it's definitely not gold digging because you want someone who, because men are supposed to provide, protect, and produce. So we are naturally, want to submit to that. We naturally want to submit to that. So you want to be able, if you walk in yourself as a queen, you want to also have a king. You want someone who can, hold his own and provide. And we were created, I think, some kind of way we have got thrown off. The balance is off. And we're so busy walking into our masculine side that we don't get a chance. And I'm speaking on myself because I do a lot of things. But, and as a single mom, I've been married before as well. But also as a single mom and doing so much, I have to be the protector of the home, the provider of the home, and the producer. So to me, if I'm already handling and all of that, I need that man to come in so I can be soft because I'm constantly being hard. I have to constantly be hard, and I don't want to be that way all the time because I'm a girly girl. I might say a couple of cuss words here and there that I'm not going to say no more. But at the end of the day, I'm a girly girl and I'm still a woman and I want to walk into that. But, it's tough when to turn it off sometimes,
Okay.
So it's not that you want to just date up or you want this guy to have a particular thing, but you want him to know his position as a man.
Okay. I feel a little pushback. Pushback from the male side. We're going to come back and we're going to unpack that. 404-892-2703. We still talking about hypergamy, dating, and mental health. Stay tuned. We will be right back. It's the Mental Space. Sean Garvey, News and Talk 1380 WAOK. The dating commentator himself, Trey Amazing, along with Wanda Davis, comedian Wanda Allen from the We Need to Talk series, and Kizzy Robinson, who thinks that ain't nothing wrong with being hypergamous, and that, she wants a man to be a provider. She wants a man to, do this. Look, I got kids. I got bills. I got a mortgage. What? What are you bringing to the table?
Oh, he did not say the table.
The table.
Oh, you can't. Don't ask a sister that. I found that out the hard way. Don't ask a sister what do you bring to the table. I am the table.
I mean, but in this conversation though, on hypergamous, okay, you want a hypergamous man, you want a hypergamous woman. Okay, cool. What are you bringing to the table then? I'm just saying.
I'm curious, Miss Kizzy. In your opinion, do you consider, I mentioned this at the top of the show, that you're seeing a rise in men who are becoming hypergamous. Would you view a man who's hypergamous as still masculine? Be real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why
He's
the
still
hesitation?
masculine. He know what he wants, and there's nothing wrong with knowing what you want. If you worked hard and don't let anyone just come in and not reciprocate the same thing, at least, and again, don't forget that I said a plan. He can have a plan, because if the right woman comes into that man's life while he has that plan, two can be a whole lot better at that plan than one. So I don't think that. Yeah.
I got a bomb for all y'all, for the women, because and I'm not picking on you because it's Women's International whatever.
We're not gonna let you.
Yeah. I'm not doing that. I'm for the women. But in your estimation, do you feel like could you date a man could you date potential? Could you date a man that he had the potential to be this everything, boss of all bosses, but for right now he's living with his sister? But if you see potential, would you still give that guy a chance?
Again, like what Ms. Wanda said, when you become a certain age, no. When I have two babies by potential. So
My bad. I'm sorry.
That potential ended me up as a single mom and carrying, the full load of potential should have been carrying. So no, and that's because of experience. And see, everybody has to date based on their experience and what they need.
I agree.
I cannot, what I needed at 20, I don't need at 44.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay.
What I was able to accept at 24, I cannot tolerate 2 seconds of it at 44. So that becomes with the level of growth, So no, I can't. In the younger kids, when she thought she had all the time in the world, with he's cute and he got a plan and he, Poo-Poo gonna front him up 2 more bags and he gonna flip it and we gonna, if I'd have been that. But now, no, security is important, and knowing that you have someone who can withstand and hold, and again, know how to walk into what he's supposed to be, what God created him to be.
Bada bing. I ain't mad at that. Okay, fella.
Go ahead, Alan, and then we're going to go to Todd. Okay, Alan.
This is what I want to say, especially for the black community, because all the work that I do is for our community. I think we need to get rid of potential. I think we need to throw that away. I think we need to date men based on projection, right? The problem with potential is everybody has potential. If I put, you know what I'm saying, now we're seeing YouTubers become boxers. Everybody has potential. It doesn't mean anything. But the problem in our community especially is, and I've interviewed women who've talked about this, they would rather invest in the future drug kingpin than the future software engineer.
Wow.
Because the future drug kingpin has money now, and it's showy and it's ostentatious and look at me, it's flashy, it's shiny, right? But when you project out his life, it ends up in a casket or a jail cell. Women aren't dating for projection, they're dating for potential. So if we want to fix our community, and this has been my gripe with the female delegation, women have abandoned their power in the sense that men's number one motivation, males of any species, our number one motivation is the ability and the opportunity to procreate. And the type of males that are incentivized by the opportunity to procreate is the type of males we're going to see more of. So if we keep incentivizing dope boys and SoundCloud rappers and all these dudes with potential, we're going to see more of that in our community. Not only are we replicating those men literally by having their children, but we're also telling other men who weren't able to mate that this is what you need to be successful. So guess what? In 10 years, in 20 years, we're going to see a bunch of futures. Like we see women talk about, I want a Russell Wilson, but who is getting vagina? Future. Right? So a lot of times, and sometimes people think, I don't have sympathy for women, but a lot of times it's like, if we keep just trying to find a way to scapegoat men, this thing is men's fault, this thing is men's fault, without the female delegation saying, okay, what type of male behavior are we incentivizing? Some of the worst men that I know were raised by women. Exclusively. Some of the best men that I know were raised by only their father. So we need to start telling the truth about the part that we both play in our mess.
404-892-2703. Let's go over to Todd. He's been waiting. Todd, go right ahead. Todd, you there? Okay, we're going to have to come back to him in the bottom of the hour then. 404-892-2703 is the telephone number. I want to read this part of the article that I pulled up. And once again, this is coming from Women's Health because I do want to tie the mental health aspect to the conversation, of course. And this goes back to the article on hypergamy. And so I was reading, and according to Dr. Patrice N. Douglas, who is a licensed therapist and founder of the Pop Culture Therapy podcast, Dr. Douglas said, quote, "For many women, one of the most important aspects to thrive in society is to feel secure and protected." The therapist goes on to say, quote, "While society pants hypergamy as being money-driven, being cared for is what allows women to tap the most into their nurturing side." Douglas also notes that the societal pressure to carry it all, particularly prevalent for Black women, can lead to its own set of problems, such as negative impacts on mental health. Let's go back over to you, Wanda Davis. How do you feel about that assessment? You know, speaking as a Black woman.
I don't agree.
Why you don't agree?
I don't agree because I think right now in our society, it's all about, to me, because this I only can talk about myself. Women, we are here by ourselves when it comes down to the kids. I am a single parent that's raising a son. I'm a single parent that's raising a daughter. So when I look at things is I want my daughter and my son to know that anything that you want in life, don't wait for nobody else. So it's not about what nobody else really got, to me, because you got to have it for yourself. So when I look for somebody, I got to have it for myself first. Mm-hmm. I ain't going to expect for you to have it if I don't got it. So I just look at it, it's a whole, I guess it all depends on who you are. But me personally, I just want whoever I date, whoever I want to be with, I want them to be able to, when they say bring it to the table, I don't need for you to come pay none of my bills in my house. I don't need no man to pay no bills in my house.
Ooh, I like that.
I don't need you to pay because guess what? My house is with my 2 kids and ain't no man, I'm not going to have my kids alter their self for nobody else. But I want that man to do all that other extra stuff. Trips, having a good time, showing each other love. So I just think if you love yourself enough as a woman and as a caregiver, you're going to attract the right person. And that's just my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. That was melodies from heaven.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
That was good. But I want to add to that. And I
Okay,
kind of want to
well,
touch
let's do
back.
this, Kizzy. Let's do this, Kizzy, because we're up against a commercial break. We're gonna have to do part 2 on this conversation because I do want to go into the next topic, which is on corny guys, and this also coincides with mental health. So we're gonna come back 404-892-2703. It's the mental space with Sean Garvey. I'm gonna need to take a break after that assessment from Wanda. Woo! News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Welcome back to the mental space. Sean Garvey, News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Don't forget to download the Odyssey app, News and Talk 1380 WAOK, and WAOK.com. You can also listen to the show on SeanGarveyOnline.com. That's SeanGarveyOnline.com. Once again, you got Sean Garvey in the studio along with our panel of guests, the dating commentator himself, Trey Amazing, along with comedian Wanda Davis, a.k.a. Blase, in the studio. We also have our special guest, Alan from the We Need to Talk series on YouTube, and Kizzy Robinson on Zoom. All right, now it's time to switch topics. Of course, like I said, we're going to do a part 2 on hypergamy dating in the near future. But right now, I want to talk about corny dudes, since this particular story has been talked about in the media for the past couple of days. You all know Creed 3 is blowing up everywhere. #1 movie, not just only
Great
in America,
movie.
but also #1 movie in the world. And a video went viral recently where a reporter, a media personality, interviewed Michael B. Jordan himself. And I'm going to have my producer Simone, pull up the clip here, just in case you didn't get a chance to hear it. The media personality on the red carpet was asking Michael B. Jordan some questions, but before she asked him some questions about his movie Creed 3, which is available now, this is what happened. This is what transpired before it went any further.
And, you know, we know each other. We go way back all the way to Chad Science in Newark, okay?
The corny kid, right?
No, I did not say that. Misquoted for sure.
And she said at the end, well, you're not corny anymore.
Mm.
Wow. I know that had to be triggering. I know it had to be triggering. I mean, imagine going back to grade school. Imagine you was 3, 4, 5 years old, or you was in your teenage years, and you came to school with a headshot because you wanted to be an actor. And people were teasing you about your headshot and mocking you because you had the same name as a basketball star. So let's talk about it. Corny dudes and mental health. What do you, Alan, what'd you make of it? I know this is going to be something you could probably going to be touching on. We need to talk.
I've talked about it.
Okay.
It goes back to my whole thing about potential versus projection and the type of masculinity we incentivize in our community. Michael B. Jordan, when he was in high school, he was already on The Wire. So he wasn't an aspiring actor. He was an actor, right? So the problem that I have is that, again, we would rather the aspiring drug kingpin than the aspiring actor and Hollywood mogul, right? So Michael B. Jordan is showing up to school with a headshot. Pookie is showing up to school with a Glock 19. And I want him. Ray Ray is showing up to school with some weed in his backpack. I want him, right? So again, when we project these 3 archetypes of men, when we project their life out, Michael B. Jordan ends up the way that he is, and these people end up the way that they are, and we call this person corny. And what annoys me particularly is a lot of the questions I get from women is about, why do men date white women? Well,
Why do men or black men?
Black men.
Gotcha.
Well, part of the reason is because when these men in their formative years, 13, 14, 15, 16, the years that as a man, I'm supposed to empathize with you about whatever trauma you experience at those ages. But when it comes to me and the fact that the only people who gave me play, not me specifically, but I'm talking from that perspective, was Samantha and Allison and Sarah. So guess what? When I become that 6-figure, $500,000 a year software engineer or director of Creed, guess what I'm going to be looking at? And guess what I'm going to associate with those women or the people who look like those women who made fun of me when I was 14, 15, 16. But again, it's easy to say, oh, you a sellout. you this, you that. He hates himself. Ain't his mama black? Well, as opposed to, okay, as black women, what did we do to that man that ran him off?
And you know what? And that's what makes a corny dude. The fact that he is bitter, because you're bitter because what that person did when you were in grade school, high school, versus I changed my life and this is who I am. You may have been the corny dude then. And I want to go back to the future. I mean, like the topic of, women date the people like they want the future guy. No, women want protectors because as black women, we haven't been protected. So we're not looking at, oh, he's the drug dealer or he's the boss or he's this. We're looking at the protector, because usually it's not even about what he's doing in the streets. It's about that stigma that if I'm with this guy, I'm protected, which you're very unprotected. But that's what women are mostly looking for, because most of the black men and the black fathers haven't been in the home to protect. So they're looking for a protector. And then now when you say when a guy grows up and now he's not the guy that's been bullied, he's kind of like bullying her, like, oh, I was a corny dude now, which made him corny for doing that, because you gotta know.
I disagree.
Let me follow up.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you finish.
Because at this point, because he's that. I mean, look at me now. That's kind of arrogant. That comes off a little arrogant.
Yeah.
Because it didn't have to go that way. Because if you are and you standing in your truth and you are who you are and you're not that dude anymore, you're not even holding on to what somebody said to you when you was in grade school. Because that means you're unhealed. That's where the mental health comes in at. Because now I got to react to you saying, I got to react because I held on to something so many years. Now that you come, oh, I remember you was the one, I'm that corny dude. I was that corny dude. Yeah, that makes you corny. Because you're holding on to something that you should let go of.
Let me get Wanda to speak. Because you're a black woman and Wanda's a black woman. I want to get her take, because it seemed like you beg to differ on this, Wanda.
Oh, most definitely.
And then we go to you, Alan. Go ahead.
I don't feel like he was corny at all, because he had a dream. And I look at it like, okay, but now you're on the sideline and you're trying to interview me for me having my headshots. It wasn't that he was bitter. I don't feel like he was bitter. Because guess what? If he would have kept on walking, he wouldn't have ever saw you. You stopped him to interview him. So I felt like he like looking at, well, you call me corny because I had my headshots, but look where I'm at now. It's not about being bitter. It's about
and he didn't have to give her that energy.
But you know what? And she didn't have to give him that energy when she called him corny.
Right. No, I agree with Wanda. I agree with Wanda on this.
She didn't have to give him that energy calling him corny, because he wanted his headshots. He had his headshots because he wanted to do something else in life outside of being a drug dealer. He didn't want to be on the streets. He didn't want to be known as having the marijuana in his pocket. He wanted to be known for, y'all seeing me on TV.
And it turned out great. And I'm a fan of that. And it turned out great. And I'm a total fan of him. But at the same time, like when he said, then the black man, that's why we date white women. Because you're mad because of something that happened in your past. It shouldn't be I'm dating this particular woman because the sister, she thought that I was corny. So I'm going to this particular race because she feels, I guess, it makes you feel not corny or however you want to feel.
Well, I was raised in a family where it wasn't no race. I was raised with Mexicans.
And
I was
I'm not
raised with white.
Let me address that.
Go ahead, Alan.
Let me address that real quick. So for the past probably decade, I've been interviewing people, whether for documentaries or whether for We Need to Talk. And when I've interviewed black women in particular, a lot of the stuff, when we talk about the traumas that they experience, a lot of that stuff happened when they were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, the big picture that I've been trying to paint for people is that as people in general, as black people in particular, we don't think black men are supposed to have feelings. So it's easy to dismiss a black man who has feelings as corny, right? Like I'm supposed to empathize with the fact that you were a dark-skinned woman and you didn't have, 4A hair and you got made fun of. You couldn't find a date in high school, but you can't empathize with a black man who's saying that people weren't incentivizing the behavior that I had that led to my success. I've listened to men talk about part of the reason they wanted to be thugs is because that's what women wanted. Part of the reason they wanted to go.
Women want.
Part of the reason they wanted to go to prison is because in the hood, The people who came back from college were called corny. The
You had to go to
people who
prison.
came back from prison were celebrated.
Absolutely.
So like we
Absolutely.
got to get our stuff together. And the part that breaks my heart in particular is like, we're not thinking about this from a global standpoint. One of the conversations I've been having is about passport bros.
We need
Men
to- we need
in
to bring it up.
America going overseas to find wives. Guess what? Men overseas are not running to America to find wives. Are women asking themselves why? Are black women in this country competitive globally? The answer is no. And part of the reason is because the type of masculinity we incentivize, what we call corny versus what we call cool, is not what the world celebrates. But we're not asking ourselves why. We talk about, the gangster is the person who could protect me. Most gangsters do not know how to shoot well. They do this stuff. Most gangsters do not know how to fight.
But that's what draw the women to that.
But that's my point. Like we have to get past optics. We have to get past fairy tales and Shane novels. This is real life, and we need to grow up at some point and realize what it looked like ain't what it is. When you play football, just like you talked about, you think it's the 6'3", 250-pound dude who hits hardest on the team, but it's really the 5'7" dude who's 150 pounds who would knock him out. But again, women live in this la-la land a lot of times where they don't think that I need to consider the reality of things as opposed to just what stuff looks like. And then those same women come back to me and complain, talking about, I thought he had money because he was driving a fancy car. He was renting it.
News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Simone's Choice right here on the Mental Space. Sean Garvey from the Creed 3 soundtrack, I believe. Yep. I'm going to go see that this weekend. Creed 3. You want me to take you on a date? Okay. All right. Cool. You want to go to that? You're going to go to that?
You're going to like it. You're going to like
You
it.
gonna like it?
You're gonna
Okay.
like it.
All right. Well, it must be worth going to see at the theaters as opposed to streaming.
Don't stream it.
No streaming? Okay.
No bootleg.
Don't bootleg it.
We
Don't
bootleg.
for that to be.
I haven't bootlegged in 10 years.
I can't say
But
that.
for that to be his directorial debut, I think he knocked it out the park.
Yeah.
Like straight up.
Big shout outs to Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors, Tessa Thompson, and all the characters, all
Felicia-
the
you
cast
know,
members. Felicia Rashad,
Felicia
by the way.
Rashad.
Wood Harris also. Before we go to Todd, someone pointed out to me regarding the conversation on corny dudes and mental health. Let's not forget about Breonna Taylor. Taylor had an on-again, off-again relationship with Jamarcus Glover, a convicted drug dealer who listed her apartment.
He wasn't corny, though.
He wasn't, but he wasn't corny. But he wasn't corny. I know what you meant by that, Alan.
I saw that coming.
At his a convicted drug dealer who listed her apartment as his address and used it to receive packages. The evidence collected on the Elliott houses were extensive, according to an application for a warrant to search the premises, which led to the demise of Breonna Taylor. So, would it be fair to ask if that guy that Breonna Taylor was with was her protector? Just saying. I mean, that's just a food for thought type of question.
No.
That's just
She's not
hypothetically
here,
asking.
no.
But she's not here.
because protection, and this is what I need people to understand. Protection in the movies looks like the person who's going to throw the first punch, who's going to back out their nine, right? But protection in real, actual life, because we have this thing called an autonomic response. So like people think, when some stuff pops off, I'm going to know what to do. Most people freeze. Most people run. Even people who are trained, right? So again, protection needs to look like, especially to our women, come on, baby, let's go. We don't need to go there. I see what's about to happen. Let's get out of here.
That's
right? But the problem is a lot of our women are not used to messing with men who have things to lose.
Interesting point. All right, let's go to the phone lines. We still
I see
have
over there, Alan.
we still have Todd on line. Todd,
You got me.
got you now.
Okay, Sean, Trey, Wanda, Kizzy. I know you were born after Roots debut. and Alan.
Definitely.
And Alan. So you said on and off again relationship Breonna Taylor had with that dude. It never was off. It was never off. No, he was not a protector because his behavior set her up for a fall.
Come on now.
That is the truth.
Come on now.
That is the truth. That's the accurate assessment of the facts.
Come on.
I should note this because you brought it up on air, and I like your broadcast. I have enough appreciation for your broadcast to make sure that the accurate assessment of facts are conveyed. black women are not out earning black men. That is not true, unless you're taking highly educated black women comparing them to black men that are of the ages of 18 to 23 that just finished high school and did not go to college. That's not. They're just not. There's no statistic by the government or by any group of people that study these types of things for a living that will tell you that that's true. And there's not more black women making six figures than there are black men. Black men get hired faster, and black men get hired at a higher rate, and black men get rise up in the ranks higher, military, private sector, whatever. That's not to say that black women aren't doing well, because they are. They are more. He got that right about the entrepreneurs. But these are businesses that are just one-person businesses. When you get into multiple businesses for entrepreneurs, those are mostly run by black men. In the comparison between the two, these are the facts.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think real quick. I think what is often misconstrued: black women are rising faster, but they're not as high as men.
Right. And you know what? That was my mistake. I should have added more clarity and context to that, because both of you are right. Because the fact of the matter is, black women are still women, and women typically aren't paid the same as men. That's always been the case. That's to me, that's obvious. We know that.
The same job.
And it's very tough for us as black business owners, as women. Very, very tough for us, especially when you're attractive too, because it's like, if you're not willing to bend over or, lay certain things down, they make it just that much harder.
But now in 2023, there are a lot more concessions for women too.
Black women aren't rising faster either. They're getting more college degree. They're getting college degrees at a higher rate than black men, but they're accumulating debt.
Yeah, that's what I was
at
referring to.
At a higher rate as well.
Yeah, because y'all live with us.
And let me tell you this too. Let me tell you this too, because this is important. Housing crisis hit. The one group of homeowners that did not take a fall were black men. And there's a lot of black men, because a lot of black men will buy a house in the hood, whereas a black woman will buy a house in the suburbs and just take out a higher mortgage.
Optics, yep.
Because we have to protect ourselves. We can't
not necessarily
afford to be
so.
over there by ourselves.
Not necessarily so. And I've heard many women say that, they weren't really looking for a dude to protect them. They're looking for a dude who's going to be places where neither one of them need protection.
Yep.
Exactly.
Trying to
but
live
when
like
the woman
that.
is by herself, that's where she's trying to go, where she can have somewhere that can be, her kids can be protected. When she's alone, she's alone.
Our women don't know what protection is.
The reason why I know these things is because I have a volunteer.
Most women.
The reason why I know these things is because I have a volunteer project that's over 20 plus years in work, where these things come up a lot, and I'm big on fact checking. So I know where the numbers are, and I don't get into percentages and averages. I'll deal with the median sometimes, but I try to deal with the whole matter. And most black kids are not growing up in households separate from their father as far as access goes. They have access to their dad. Their dad and mom were just in different households when they made them in the first place. Now, with the limited amount of time left, because I was talking so much, I want to say this: you're talking about things as though these are the most common, like these types of relationships where women have these things for thugs or fake thugs, mostly drug dealers, usually medium range drug dealers. That's not really the truth for the bulk of the black population. Most black women have a much healthier appreciation for a guy that went through college or junior college or internship and is working than they do the dude that's a dope dealer. That's just not true. Most black dudes ain't even dealing dope, so the pool is smaller.
Okay, all right. Appreciate that, Todd. Appreciate that. We're running out of time here, but I am going to message you back on Facebook. Thank you so much. But let me say this before we wrap up and before we go to our panelists. I think a lot of times people go by what they see in the media, and they apply it to life experiences. People going to go by what they see in the media. People going to go by their personal experience and stuff. I think content creators, like, I'm a content creator. I don't like to say I'm a content creator, But in real life, I am a content creator, and so is Alan, and so is Trey Amazing. And us as responsible, let me put emphasis on responsible, us as responsible content creators and also as black men, it is on us to put out content that empowers and informs people on things that they're not getting from mainstream media or from other places. And I think it's very imperative that we support those content creators. Like, please support Alan. We Need to Talk series, because his series is where he's not debating, he's not arguing at the black woman when she's sitting on the other side of the room. He's actually just having a conversation. You know, and the same thing with Trey Amazing and with me doing the show, The Mental Space. We're all about solutions. We about providing solutions, and we do highlight people that are doing positive things in the community and that are positive people, where the rest of the other platforms, yeah, they're always going to show you stereotypical images of a black person. That's just what it is. But I think we got to owe it to ourselves to be responsible for the type of content and the type of narratives that we put out there, as not only as black men, as black women, but as black people. So we're running out of time, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. I want to go around the room. Trey Amazing, the dating commentator. How can people reach out to you and check out your content?
Well, if you're on the interweb, go ahead and go to YouTube. Please find my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Ringside LLC. You will find my channel. I am the dating commentator of Atlanta. I interview up and coming as well as established Atlanta influencers and get their thoughts on dating, relationships, marriage, kink, and fetish. So find me on YouTube. You can find me on IG at Dating Commentator.
All right, Wanda Davis, the comedian.
Oh, you can find me on Facebook, Wanda Davis. You can find me on Instagram, Blase2. I'm on all platforms. You can get at me at either one.
All right, and fellas, if you try to DM her, she is currently dating. So I'm just joking. I'm just joking. You see that? She did a Will Smith on my arm. All right, Kizzy Robinson, how can people contact you?
Oh, you can find me on Facebook at Kizzy Robinson or Instagram at LaKizzy, LAKIZZIE. That's it. Or just find me in Atlanta.
In the ATL. All right, Kizzy. And last but not least, I got to say the best for last. Alan from We Need to Talk. How can people check out your content and how can people follow you?
Absolutely, yeah. So I am just at WNT Talk. That's WNTTALK, or type in We Need to Talk on YouTube. But WNT Talk is the website, WNTTalk.com. The Instagram, the YouTube, the TikTok, the Facebook, everything's WNT Talk.
All right. Check out his videos. Very informative and even at times entertaining as well. But I really appreciate you for coming on the show.
Thank
very big fan.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Dang, Simone, that's a big applause. Make sure y'all follow me at Sean Garvey ATL on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Sean Garvey. Thank you to my producer, Simone, for holding things down with me, as well as my associate producer, Michelle Dawes-Burt, in the background. And thank you so much for tuning in to The Mental Space. We do this each and every Wednesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. And always remember, don't make room for bad news. Make every day your own good news, and always keep yourself and others in a great mental space. All right, shout out to Alicia Bridges. We'll check in with you next week. Cheers.